All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ole Miss After Dark. I'm joined once again here by my good friend Brian Baldwin. Came on the show for the first time last week. Did a little bit of a crossover. I hopped over on the Miss 98 scoreboard show on Friday. Seemed to go really well, so we're going to have Brian back on, as I mentioned last week, every single week, kind of catch you up on what they're doing for the coming up high school football week, where they're going, what fish house they're eating at, if that's been decided at this point. I know there's a Twitter poll. I know there's a Twitter poll out on that.
We'll talk about that Twitter poll in a minute.
Yeah. So, and then just kind of his general thoughts of all of that. So, Brian, really appreciate you doing this again, joining me again this week. Had a lot of fun last week, so we're just going to keep rolling this thing back.
Yeah, might as well. Just jump on, hold on, and see where we go. Right.
Yeah, that's it. There's not a lot of planning going on here. So, but one thing that I know you have planned is where y'all are going for week 2 of the high school football season, right? Saw that. Sure. I think y'all announced it on the show last Friday, if I remember right. But I know I saw it on Twitter on Monday night. So for all the listeners that hadn't seen, where will the Miss 98 scoreboard show be on location at here for week 2?
Well, to preface this whole announcement we do weekly, we like to go to historic locations from time to time. So last week we were at West Point. We saw a good regional rivalry there, West Point versus Louisville. Huge game in the area. No matter the storm came through, they didn't care. Very few passes thrown. The ball was on the ground a lot. The clock was running. If it wouldn't have been for Mother Nature, that thing would have ended way ahead of schedule down in West Point. The same thing is going to happen this week at the Holla in Pontotoc, Mississippi. We're going to go watch the Warriors host the South Pontotoc Cougars of Springville, Mississippi. This is a matchup near and dear to my heart, being a South Pontotoc grad, class of 2001. I didn't play high school football. I was a basketball player, played a little baseball. Wasn't good at one, was real good at the other. You can choose which one based on your own judgments there. But we in my household, it was important to go to football games on Friday night. Being in the house of an athletic director, like we said, football pays the bills. And, if you were an A student, if you were a B student and you came up to Coach Baldwin on a Friday night and let him know you were at all the football games, you were probably an A student. If you were an F student and it was close to being a D and you let him know you were there, man, it really helped you. He was really apt to give extra credit to folks who needed it when they showed up and rooted on their classmates on Friday night. And Friday nights are important to us. And this week we're going to go to a place that I've been quite a bit down at Pontotoc. It's a unique experience down in the Hollow. It's tucked down in there. People can stand up on the hill and watch it. People, have been sitting on those concrete bleachers for almost a century now. Tommy Morton Field is a place where there have been a lot of really good football games played, and we're excited to go this week. Jeff Carter, former Ole Miss football player and current head football coach at Pontotoc. I think he might have been the first person to wear 38 after Chucky. They were pals when Chucky was there. I could be wrong about that, but something in my brain tells me he wore it the year after or something like that. But either way, real close connection to the Rebels there. He's a really great football coach. He's at Pontotoc. And his offensive coordinator and a good friend of ours, Mr. Zach Mackins,
that's right.
It's his first year as the OC there. He was the offensive line coach, and they've gone to the Flex Bone. Sounds hilarious, right? Sounds like
near and dear to my heart, man.
Sounds like the name of an actor who from a movie we probably couldn't watch out in public. But the Flex Bone is what they got going on in South Pontotoc. Coach Rod Cook, a guy who's been at a lot of different places, a Calhoun Academy guy. He's been at Starville Academy. He's been all over the Golden Triangle area, the private school. Now he's at South Pontotoc, does a heck of a job there. Coaching that football program and leading those guys to become men. They're going to keep the ball on the ground as well. You know what I mean? From what I can tell, you know what I mean? It's going to be a game of, emotion, effort, execution, the 3
Grind it out.
Yeah. But we're going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of familiar faces. There'll be cousins on opposite sides of the stands. They'll all go hunting together on Saturday morning and church together on Sunday. But on Friday night, it's a game of intensity. And I would say, at one time it was not a friendly rivalry. It was not. When I was in high school, it was the very first few times we had played them after a long break when we moved up to 3A and they were up to 3A school. And they put it on us for a while. A few times in the last, decade or so, South has won. But it's a really lopsided win-loss total. Will Ruff gave it to me last year. It's like 20 something, maybe to single digits. It's bad, but that makes it the friendly rivalry. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, so that's just how it goes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to stop a few places on Friday night this week. Of course, we're going to go to the one that all are judged against. We're going to go to the Fish House on Highway 41.
There we go.
Yeah. And which
anybody from Pontotoc County and even the surrounding counties know about 41 Fish and Steakhouse.
Right. And for folks who don't know, it's Highway to go back to the Twitter poll comment. It's currently Highway 41 Fish and Steak. At one time, it was Terry's. At one time, it was Steagall's, and it's known by everybody as the Fish House. And on the Twitter poll, we put up, where should we eat? Highway 41 Fish and Steak, the Fish House, Terry's, Steagall's. Yeah. I don't know. The votes have been kind of spread out through there, and we've had people DMing us saying like Steagall's is the place, or I've never heard of Terry's, or you got to go to 41, and it's just kind of like that Spider-Man meme where like there's three different Spider-Man, they're all pointing at each other, and that's what's going on here. So shout out to my friend Sean Patterson for figuring that out and then letting us know about it. But it's going to be a really fun time Friday night. The Fish House near and dear to my heart. Will and Andy love the place. You got to take your lisinopril or your Crestor before you go there, and a change of shirt because you'll smell like it for a little while. But it's a lot of fun, and we look forward to that. And we'll have some friends join us. I've reached out to my guys at South Pontotoc, a couple guys in the friends group, and then a few of the Pontotoc folks. So we'll see. And then before that, we're going to slide over to Honey Pies right there on the corner. Our friend Honor Faulkner has an amazing sandwich shop and a dessert spot. So I'm going to wash down my steak and hush puppies with a nice piece of caramel pie.
Shoot, yeah, man. All right. I think you might have just convinced me to join y'all there. Like I've got the kids and all, but look, I can bring them up there, get them some catfish, some hush puppies, and then we'll slide on over there and get us some pie.
And you'll never know if they bathed or not because it smells like fish in there, like fried fish, not like the Seattle fish market. It's like, like the Steagall's Terry's 41 Fish House folks do.
Yeah, way better than that Afro Man fish market that he visited way back in the day.
Ooh, yeah,
so,
I get that. Right. For sure. I was going to clean my room, but anyway, look, Anthony's was good last week. I got the steak there, but this week I look forward to getting some fried whole catfish. It'll be good.
Shoot, yeah, I get it. Look, man, I've got to give y'all props. Okay, with the Pontotoc South Pontotoc game going on this Friday, it's really nice for y'all to show a little bit of love to the two slums of Pontotoc, right? You've got North Pontotoc way up here, and then South and Pontotoc way down here, right? So y'all are going to watch the two lesser teams battle a little bit, before you make your way over to the Vikings later on in the season, I would imagine.
For sure. I mean, it's one of those things like when you're the doormat for a long time, the two teams, you just, you kind of, it's like, you forget what's going on. You alternate sense of reality, things aren't what they seem. No, I'm joking. Now, who could ever compete with Toyota money out that way, right? In the north part of the county.
Yeah.
I mean, we only have so much going on at Newell's Grocery and whatever's going on at Golden Chair. But anyway.
Well, look, not only Pontotoc out for Toyota out there on 78 and Blue Springs there right between that crew and Sherman there. But you also got Papa Lynn's hot sauce, some of the best hot sauce you're ever going to find in the entire world, made right there in Ecru, Mississippi. And you can find that, of course, on our online shop, omafterdark.myshopify.com. You can buy all of your Papa Lynn's hot sauce right there straight from that website, all made right there in Ecru, Mississippi, home of the North Pontotoc Vikings, the obvious king of Pontotoc County.
Oh, for sure. Awesome. Yeah. If you got I've always kind of heard if you got to call yourself the king or give yourself a title, then usually it's not true. So,
look, it was after you graduated. Okay. Like you got done wiping the floor with us, hitting threes from the damn timeline and everything else throughout your 4 years there at South Pontotoc. And after you moved on, we started climbing up the ladder a little bit.
For sure. No, I totally get that. Ecru, cool thing, about the schools in Pontotoc County is the city's the city. Pontotoc City's cool. Yeah. It's got the square. It's got its own ambiance. North Pontotoc has Ecru. Like you have your town. You have the trolley. You have, the Ecru Christmas parade. In South Pontotoc, it was just a bunch of
anything you've ever seen.
Yeah, a bunch of communities, and it's Algoma, it's Randolph, it's parts of Troy, it's Takapola, like it's weirdo spots, and they all come together. They all have come together, and after consolidation and made South Pontotoc, and it's cool how it's thrived down there. All those little communities have come together. It's an experience, and I'm telling you, they're going to travel well Friday night. They're 1-0. They beat Bruce, a rival down Highway 9, and they're just going to march right up to the city and take on the Warriors. It'll be a good game. Coach Carter, like I said, an Ole Miss guy, Coach Mackins, good pals of ours, and it'll be fun. Some other folks in the area who are of note for us, man, that we talked about last weekend. New Albany's good. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
They got a running back that can play. Emmanuel Tucker's a really good lineman. We talked to Cody Stubblefield. They got a good team. Braden Shuttle's a good quarterback. He struggled a little bit, I think, with accuracy, but he's going to be fine. Tupelo is awesome. J.J. Hill, the running back, fantastic. Hoping for old Flipmaster Kiffin to come in before the end of 2026 and take a look at him. He's amazing. Quarterback for Tupelo fit right in, coming in from Boonville. He can spin it a little bit. West Point, Louisville look like two junior college football teams. They have some guys who I will not be surprised if they, play 4 years of college football. West Point has a big old offensive lineman. He can play a little bit, but it's hard to tell those guys apart because they all look the same. They're all the same height. They all move the same. They run the same green uniforms, white numbers. It's one of those. It's a treat to go down there and watch them. And then another game, kind of importance we were talking about with the Ole Miss connection and some of the D1 players they got that have committed to the Rebels or that we're looking at. They travel to South Haven this weekend. Coach Randall Montgomery and the Chargers had a tough loss at Center Hill, bad weather game. And Center Hill's a funny team to play against up there just outside of Olive Branch. So that South Haven lost one, looking for a little bit of a bounce back. They host Tupelo, first away game of the season for Tupelo. And South Haven has a kid who's got an Ole Miss offer, a defensive player, pretty good. So that'll be interesting to see how they play and how they are able to game plan on both sides right there. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a big week. There's always some fun rivalry games in the area. I think Calhoun City takes on Okolona in a Chickasaw Calhoun County matchup. Potts Camp hosts Myrtle, which, 20 years ago, that's just a basketball game. And now they both have football. Amory's at Saltillo, Ashland at Manatee. These games, Ashland didn't even have a football team, when we were in high school. But the Skunk Bowl, which is a really big game in our area, we have Baldwin at Boonville. For a long time, that's been a big rivalry game. A skunk ran on the field. It became the Skunk Bowl, and it's a big regional rivalry in our area. In a Marshall County game, Byers plays Holly Springs. Like I said, Holly Springs has a D1 kid. Itawamba with Ole Miss linebacker commit. He goes the Walters kid. He goes to Caledonia, which is 1-0. And, that's kind of rounding out, some of the big games in the area with players of note. DeSoto Central goes to Lake Cormorant. Lake Cormorant is stacked. One of their linebackers is kind of on the verge of maybe having a decision to be made. So, there's a bunch of good games on the slate. It'll be exciting to see how things go this weekend. Houston's at Shannon. That'll be a big game in our area. Sneaky rivalry, and I'll go over there and hang out with our guys, Coach Flowers and Coach Bunch from the football, baseball teams, and then the esports team. So
the esports,
yeah, get in the game. Coach Bunch says that the Houston e-gaming squad really good at Mario Kart.
I know, that's what I was about to say, but Coach Bunch needs to figure some things out and start getting those shortcuts figured out, though. He said he ain't found them yet, so we can't teach them to him, right?
Yeah, if
I expected a lot more out of our man, Coach Bunch. Like if anybody, that's the guy I would have gone to find the Mario Kart shortcuts.
We all know the Rainbow Road shortcut. Now, whether you can do it or not, I don't know. But we all know the Rainbow Road. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask you real quick, if you could be good at one video game and win a state title, what would that game have been? Because I have an idea. I'm going to contradict you probably.
It's college football. It's the only one I've ever played religiously my entire life.
Yeah.
Got really into some Wii tennis there at one point in my life when the Wii first came out. Somebody had it.
Did you say Wii tennis?
Yeah, Wii tennis.
Wii tennis,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
same.
WII.
Wii
Yeah,
golf. I liked Wii golf. That was fun.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Bowling I was okay at, but tennis is where I really shined.
Dude,
But
I
it had to
think
be college football.
dude, you were a top notch Wii bowler. Don't fool ourselves.
I was okay at it. Yes,
For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
I did my fair. Now that was kind of my hustle game though. I never let anybody on to that one. I just kind of talk them into it.
You,
Put a little something on the line and get them in front of a screen.
and then you take all their money playing caps.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Banking it off the wall.
I know your college football is something you would be awesome at. I get that. I've seen you play. You're phenomenal. But man, one time, the greatest video game moment in the history of video game moments.
I know exactly where you're going.
Happened at the cabin in Enville, and
It
you not only have I not forgotten about it, you surely hadn't forgotten about it. To set the table for the folks who are listening, real quick, Derek Vandegrift, aka Little Fat Dids, is the greatest video game home run derby contestant of all time. So he was
in MVP 05.
MVP 05. He was Fred McGriff with the helicopter swing, and he started the home run derby, and he got off kind of hot, and he was hitting home runs, and we were all there was kind of gathering party going on downstairs, and went upstairs to play a couple rounds of ping pong or whatever we were doing, and I came down. And
it was beer pong. It's fine.
It was beer pong, yeah. I didn't want to incriminate us. And came back down, and Derek was still going, and he was like 35 home runs. This is insane.
Yeah,
I was
on a run.
Beat him. He was on a run. Well, I go downstairs, get me something to eat, get some more supplies for the ping pong game upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Take him up there. We finished, I don't know, another half hour, and all of a sudden I hear downstairs these people just going, "Oh, oh, oh!" And I look. And you had hit like 90-something home runs with Fred McGriff in MVP 05.
How could I miss? It was Fred McGriff.
Helicopter.
All I had to do was hit the button.
Man,
it was
awesome.
Easy, man.
It was amazing.
I think I ended up that round with 137, I think was the final number there in that round. It ended up winning the Derby that year in that particular game. But yeah, I do remember that. That was a lot of fun. But again, I can't even take credit for that because it's Fred McGriff. He is one of the top 3 hitters of all time in Major League Baseball.
It's Fred McGriff, Lenny Harris, and
well, it was Fred McGriff, Chipper Jones, Julio Franco.
Gotcha. Okay, we had a different 3, but either way.
Yeah, it was a different 3.
I got a Lenny Harris story for another show.
Anyway. The meatball man, he was always my favorite. That was always your go-to guy back in the day, right?
He looked like me. Meatball. He probably ate like me, probably drinks like I do, and he hits a baseball way better than I do. Runs like me.
I bet he doesn't shoot like you, though.
I don't know.
He won't shoot like you.
But I bet he's sneaky good, but I bet he'd be a good pickleball player.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that would line up right with you, wouldn't it? All right, real quick before we get out of here, Brian, you brought up Lake Cormorant. I don't know how much of the game you saw this past weekend. I know in our group text we were texting back and forth, Derek, and all that. The true freshman from Lake Cormorant, Cam Franklin, had one heck of a debut for the Rebels this past Saturday. He ended up with 1.5 sacks. You talked about that being an absolutely loaded team this year. Just imagine with Cam Franklin being on it last year as well, right? And I know they've got several D1 players. Just kind of as a whole, what did you see out of the Rebels this past Saturday? I know it was against Furman. Don't know how much you can take out of it. But I do think you can take out of it that Ole Miss did what they needed to do overall from the first quarter to the fourth and completely dominated it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Quick note about Furman. It's located in South Carolina. They are the Paladins. We all know that. But they are known, one of their big-time basketball players, a guy named Frank Selvey, Selvy, and he's known for scoring 100 points in a game. It's a big deal. Yeah. So look up Furman. It's a big thing. He had a funny nickname like the Racine Rocket or something like that, but who knows? But anyway, that's all I knew about Furman coming in. That's about all I know now. I know a Paladin is a character on Final Fantasy that we used to play with at Delta State. It was fun to see points scored. It was fun to see, them get, shut out. But what was even more exciting than the total, and all the stuff that you see that's kind of the window dressing was guys were in the right place. You know what I mean? Receivers are running wide open. They might have 2 guys covering them. Dart was throwing on the money. Our second unit guys, our two deeps were really tough. They were comparable to first stringers for guys we've had in the past. Sometimes when I don't, it takes me a few games to learn numbers because they always change. You got guys coming in and out, but until I learn the numbers, those guys all look the same. Now I know, Trey Harris and those guys who we're used to seeing last year, but guys running in and out sometimes, I'm just like, who was that? Man, what a play. It's a cool thing to know we can compete on both sides too deep. Our backup quarterback, the Simmons kid, man, he was accurate. He throws a really pretty ball. I'm excited about the trajectory of the program while living in the present. We're North Mississippi, the state of Mississippi as a whole, is loaded with athletes. Memphis up in there's a lot of athletes. Over into Little Rock, down into Texas, where the Ole Miss brand is really strong. Up into Nashville, over into parts of Alabama. You know what I mean? We've been getting players for a long time, and like I said, nationally, man, we're fun. There's a buzz. Come to the Square. Come to the SIP. Come hang out. We got James Beard Award winners. We redshirt Miss Americas. Come over here. We're 10s marry 5s. It is what it is. We've made it fun. And the country is telling our story for us. And as long as we keep winning, they're going to keep telling that story. And, this week we got Middle Tennessee State.
Middle Tennessee State.
Let's the key here, put it away early, get everybody out of the game. Let's get some people some reps. Like that's all it is. We'd love to see us not necessarily run the ball more, because we could have done whatever we wanted to in the Furman game. But I would like to maybe just see, I don't know, more emphasis on, hey, every once in a while, we're going to take this thing and bully you a little bit, because we can get cute 100%. All we want and get open. It's like the equivalent of a basketball game, throwing a lob, getting a back cut for a wide open let. Sometimes, man, you just got to clear that thing out and go one-on-one. Sometimes you got to throw it in the paint, and the guy's got to go back to the basket and give you a drop step layup, up and under, something to get a bucket. And that's the equivalent of lining up and running and getting a tough 4 yards. You know what I mean? When you got to get it. And, Middle Tennessee State is a talent level up from Furman. So it'll be good to see us get some run, get a little bit more live action. But man, I'd love a 60 spot shutout. Man, it'd be great. It'd be great. Let's just keep it going.
That's kind of
keep vibes high.
That's kind of what I'm expecting. Yeah. We've got another 3 weeks before we find out what this Rebel team's all about.
Right.
3 more non-conference games. Conference play starts, and we hit the ground running then. So, I agree with everything you said. I would like to see more efficiency running the ball. If you told me there was one thing we need to improve on coming out of Furman, that would be it. But just like you, I was really happy with our depth, our second, third string, all those guys. There was hardly any drop-off with any of them that came into the game.
Right.
It's really nice to see. Something we haven't seen in a really long time. So, all right, Brian, I appreciate you joining me once again this week. Before we get out of here, let everybody know where they can find the Scoreboard Show at on Friday night.
Gotcha. Well, we are you can find us on Miss 98, which is 97.5 on your radio dial here in North Mississippi. You can find it on, I think it's miss98.net. We have an app. It's Miss 98 radio app as well. You can find us there. Show starts at 9:30 to 11:30. We have all the best in scores, coaches calls, fish house talk, all that stuff. Hot takes after dark with folks like yourself and all that good stuff. Before I get out of here, I told you I had a trivia question for you, and I want you to just kind of see what you got going on here and see if you can handle it. I mean, if I had to ask a lot of guys anything about Ole Miss, I would think you would be the guy who could get this. What former Ole Miss quarterback was the first Tampa Bay Buccaneer to return a kickoff for a touchdown, scoring a 90-yarder against Atlanta on December 16th, 2007?
That is everybody's favorite son from Indianola, Mississippi, our main man, Michael Spurlock, the heir apparent to Eli Manning, right?
Hey, I saw him. Yes, the heir apparent. Michael Spurlock, best athlete I've ever seen. We we played Little League Baseball together in Indianola. Beat Memphis one time, post Eli. And was a really great NFL return man and special teams guy.
It was.
And I'll tell you this, real quick before we get off of here. We were in the World Series, and we were 13-year-old. We were in the Little League World Series, and we were playing a team. I don't remember who we were playing, but the bases were loaded, and we had one out. In the winning run, maybe it was on second base, something like that. I don't really remember what happened. Long story short, They hit a ball to me, a one hopper, and I caught it and I threw it to second base. And I threw this thing. We were seventh graders. I airmailed this thing to second base with the game on the line. I threw it thing 10 feet in the air. And Michael Spurlock, seventh grade kid, about 5'5", jumps up and catches it barehanded, touches 1 foot on the ground, and zips that thing to first for a bang bang double play, and we won the game. Pretty impressive.
My man.
So, but shout out to him for being a Tampa Bay legend as well.
And he never could have done it without the feed from my man BB over there. Never could have done it.
I couldn't have made it any more difficult. That's for sure.
Yeah, but if you made it as easy as you would want it to, nobody would be talking about it this many years later either.
Yeah, I wouldn't have remembered it if they just hit me old can of corn, bang, bang. But yeah,
right.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to you calling Friday night, and it'll be a good time. And I look forward to you possibly making it to the Fish House. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, it would. So, all right, Brian, I appreciate you joining us again. Everybody go tune in to his show, the Miss 98 Scoreboard Show every Friday night. Like I said, starts at 9:30. I downloaded the app, listened to it on the app, had no issues with it whatsoever, ran perfectly. It's a great way to do it if you're not around the radio. So y'all go download that. Make sure to check out their show. They're really good at what they do, covering every single game, have coaches on to talk about their particular games and all that. So, Brian, I appreciate it once again, bud. And me and you will be in touch later this week, I'm certain.
Sure. Howdy toddy. Thanks, buddy.